Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot Tube. I am really glad you're here. Today's date is Monday, May 27th, 2024. In this video, we're going to take a look at some of our mainstream news outlets and see if the alt media community is gaining a little ground. I think it is, but we're going to find out if the universe has some information about it too. All right, now the 17 team said for years that we are the news now. 17 team often was talking about things that were happening in the future. And I think we might be at the point where truly we are the news now. And in part, we can give maybe a little thanks to the White Hats for getting that spa ready for some of the media moguls. And surely, their peers have to know that that's what's going on with some of these. And let's take a look at a compilation I've got that talks about a theory called the Overton window. And then we'll see what the universe wants us to know about the current status of the information stream that people are willing to listen to and accept. Okay. If you're interested in what I share with the share screen, you can click on the Facebook link that will be in the video description box. I'll also try to make a point to mention where I found some of these items in case you want to go there directly yourself. Okay, here's a thumbnail just with some of the, here in America, some of the mainstream news that we know. I'm not going to say know and love, but we know them. Elon Musk 2.0 recently reposted this clip that talks about the Overton window and used it for mainstream news. That the 4 stages of mainstream news are gaslighting, dismissing, coping, and then attacking. Okay, so think about it as far as a news item, say about balloting. Originally, when there were concerns mentioned, we were told that we were crazy to have those concerns. When that didn't work, we were dismissed as it's irrelevant. There wasn't enough to worry about, so they kind of admitted a little of it, but it wasn't enough to change any results. Then coping. Well, guys, it's been so long. It's too late to make a change and to fix anything. And, our job now is just to deal with it, just to move on. Move on. Let's let the country move on. And then the attacking now, which there's a lot of as this issue is more openly discussed now, and the concerns are not as easily dismissed. The attacking is going on. For example, there's all these new rules about misinformation and what have you that we're not taking away your First Amendment rights. We're just making sure you only hear what we think is the truth. Now, there's a nice article at mackinac.org about the Overton window. And they used for theirs, here's also they have a Overton window YouTube if you'd like to watch a short video about it. But I liked in the article here, they actually have one here regarding education. So you can see how it works. Now think about it, folks. We've seen an Overton window being used with things we're told are socially acceptable to discuss or to do in public, or to allow little children to have done to them or what have you. Or who's reading to them or whatever. They've been sliding that Overton window, trying to normalize things. And the nice thing about an Overton window, it slides both ways. So think of that. If the left uses an Overton window to slowly nudge us towards normalization, we can nudge back the other way and have some effect. Something to think about. There's a blogger by the name of Burning Bright. This isn't a new article, but it does talk about Overton's goalpost. And he looks at, or she looks at it in the framework of the MSM and the mind war that's going on with that. And according to them, retreat is defeat in the mind war. There were a couple of quotes I really, really liked. First of all, Burning Bright says there's actually 5, and it's just the way they decided to parse it out. The Overton window starts with denial, diminish, qualify, distract, look here, not there. We see a lot of that with the mainstream news, don't we? Then they admit it, but they go back into denial. Think about the talk about, maybe some important person having a offspring with a drug problem. When they finally get to admitting it, then they circle back to deny and say, yeah, but dad didn't know about it. We've seen that happen, haven't we? Overton's goalpost, yeah, with thinking of it in regards to the MSM. The MSM is desperately trying to attempt to reframe exposure as misinformation. So in other words, when we bring to light that a story is not accurate or what have you, we being the alt media community, citizen journalists, okay, they're trying to act as if they're keeping us from misinformation, but really what they're trying to do is they're just putting some covering fire out for their retreat. In other words, from their false narratives. Here is, for your information and enjoyment, if you'd like, one of several 17 posts that talk about you are the news now. And just a little advice, this is me. Avoid distractions. Remember, the media is knowingly and deliberately running warfare tactics to shape our perceptions of reality to fit the desires of the people who fund and run them, which are not in our best interests. So the MSM, in a nutshell, is not your friend. That's Laura's view, and that's why you're here at Laura's View in Tarot 2. Now, Burning Bright, who had the blog I mentioned above, also posts on truthsocial.com. And if you click on this link, it's going to take you to one. It's really choice. It's a clip from CNN admitting that they're losing ground in viewership to the alt media community and that they're struggling. So that was kind of enjoyable to see. So let's ask the universe, okay? The 17 team said for years, we are the news now, okay? And CNN has had their ratings drop quarter after quarter after quarter. If they were trying to stay afloat based on their earnings, they would have long been gone. If it wasn't for injections of billionaire funds, they'd be long gone. But it is a powerful tool. I know people that I love and know that look at mainstream for their news to this day. And it's no wonder they're asleep. But more and more people are willing to look at some of the other items too. And things like Elon Musk being willing to put up some more truthful content on his platform with less censorship. I won't say none, but less censorship, that's helping. Then there's other platforms and people talking about it too, and getting people to realize, there's other ways to get information besides these 5 or 6 mainstream choices. And I think that's really valuable. Let's ask the universe, though, have we reached that pinnacle of acceptance now where the alt media community truly can be a faster paced and more accelerating part of the information flow, plus other insights and information that the universe wants us to have about the increasing role of alt media as opposed to the diminishing role of mainstream? So is it true? Insights and information, and we'll see what the universe wants us to know. I'm going to switch the camera and you can see me work with the cards and we'll find out together what the universe wants us to know about this topic. Okay. Is there truth to the theory that alt media is finally living up to what those 17 posts said, that you are the news now? You being anonymous, citizen journalists, alt media sources, etc. And I'm not saying all of them, because we have had in the alt community, we have had our share of compromised information providers or people that were controlled opposition that are, if they're changing their view all of a sudden or what have you, they've been activated and told to start running this narrative. So we've got those. You've got to listen with discernment and trust your judgment. So what is it? Where are we at with alt media? And then insights and information about the same, especially our increasing role moving forward. We got a yes, Ace of Cups. We've reached that point. The Tower. Ooh, this is going to be fun to talk about. The Devil, the Emperor. Oh my gosh. Judgment. Seven of Pentacles. And then the Four of Cups. Okay. Well, as always, what I'll do is tell you what the cards are telling me, and then I'll show you some things in the cards that was what told me. Okay. The Ace of Cups. If you've been watching me any length of time at all, you know that if there is a yes or no element to a question, when we get one of the aces, there's four of them, that it is a hard yes. So yes, we are the news now, we being the alt media community. And alt media goes from people that are really almost undistinguishable from the mainstream, except for maybe not having the big, huge sets and what have you, to people like me that talk about current events and then blend in tarot as an element of what I talk about. The Tower. We are the news now. We've reached that point. Look, in the recent past, the Devil. So mainstream has been fighting it and fighting it and fighting it, and they're losing ground and they know it. And I love that the mainstream is being typified by the Devil here. Okay, now, why? The Emperor's here. Okay, this is a nod to the White Hats, the Alliance, those who are working really, really hard to get accurate information out there available to people, to having our planet, not just a single country, but our planet, move into a whole new place of being where there is an end to things like debt slavery, information restriction, things like that, that we slowly, as a race, learn how to follow the path that was originally intended for us by our loving Creator, that got hijacked and derailed for so many generations. So yeah, it's our time, guys. It is our time. Let's look at the near future here. Judgment showing up. Again, this is kind of a nod to that spa I mentioned, that it's going to be in use even more. But this is also a nod to the fact that with the Judgment, you have to review your past choices. And again, it's using your critical thinking skills, your logic, because as I said, even in the alt media community, there is a level of compromised content out there. You have to be able to decide what to listen to and accept, what to put on hold till you learn more, and what to say, no, that's not it for me. That is not truth for me. And use your own critical thinking and logic skills. Now, here's what's going on here for the alt media community. We've gotten some results, and there's more to come. So the alt media community is going to have a cascading increase of visibility and viability and belief. And I hope that the majority of the alt media community live up to that as they should. The Four of Cups shows up here also again for the near future, giving us some insights. And with this card, it's always talking about, you've got your eye on most of the things you should, but don't overlook something important. So in other words, don't dismiss a platform just because it's not too large. If they're putting out truth, whether they grow or not, if they're putting out truth, have them on your watch list. Okay. And also be watchful for the tactics of the mainstream, as again, is even if it is fire that they're putting out in retreat, okay, misinformation or attacks or calling things misinformation and dangerous theories and what have you, you've got to be watching for that too. That's part of this. Don't overlook things. Don't lose sight of the fact that even though they're in retreat, they're not still a well-funded opponent. Let's get a couple more cards for a couple more insights. We have the Seven of Wands and the King of Swords. Interesting, these are together. This is my card that talks about determination. So there is, and it's landing on top of one of my strongest white hat cards. So yeah, the white hats are determined to continue to rid us of the misinformation and control that was misused for so long by the mainstream. And again, just a nod to the fact that it's the white hats that feel this strongly about this. The swords are written and spoken word, and that is the medium, the two ways that news is shared and information. And again, a strong white hat card. So it is the time for mainstream news to keep becoming less and less of a viable information stream outlet, and for the Anon community to step up. And please do so with honesty, integrity, and let the truth be told. And if it's not, have it be from genuine human error that you admit and acknowledge, and not because you've been funded to have a certain narrative. Okay, let's do a recap. We were curious about the status currently for the mainstream media. They seem to be struggling. And the 17 team has said for years that eventually we are the news now. And so I asked the cards, are we there yet? And basically was what I asked for, then other insights and information. Now, in the process of doing the compilation share, we talked about something called the Overton window. And I think that's a good term to know at least what it is. And basically, it's nudging formerly taboo topics into acceptable conversation ranges or discussions. And I made the point that the left has done that over the years, trying to normalize topics, and that the right can also do that to push topics back into, no, we're not talking about that. This isn't appropriate for children. But again, it's also for things like big topics, political topics, things like that, that over time, at first something that wouldn't even be considered like balloting concerns that were thrown out originally, are now more in the acceptable, let's talk about it, there does seem to be an issue type of range. And that's that Overton window moving as time goes on. So we ask the universe, are we there yet? Is the alt media community ready and willing and able and doing it, taking a bigger chunk of the information stream and wielding it? And we definitely got a yes with that. We got an ace of cups on that. We also asked for some insights and information. Mainstream media was typified with the devil, which was pretty appropriate. And one of the reasons that the alt media community is, we're at that tower moment, that pivotal moment where the mainstream is not only struggling, but failing and falling. So how would you like that to be the two cards that typify you? And these are the two that typify the mainstream. I love it. Okay. A nod to the fact that there are good people that have pushed and worked really hard and sacrificed to let more truth be told and shared, and the information stream to have a wider base and a truthful element to it, not just a programming one. And we were told, again, kind of a little nod to the fact that the corrupt and what have you mainstream, they may be facing some judgment, especially if they've crossed the line into treason or covering up and aiding and abetting crimes against humanity. The alt media community has more to come. So the toeholt's going to continue to grow, and the credibility, especially if people really embrace doing what they do with as much integrity as possible, which I would highly encourage all alt voices to do. The advice to us, we the viewing public, because even though I speak out, I am the viewing public preparatory to the videos, is don't overlook. Don't overlook. Don't dismiss the mainstream because they're struggling. They're still well-funded and they're still dangerous, just like any cornered animal is going to be. But we're looking at wider, more sources and what have you. So don't dismiss them, but also don't overlook something. Again, someone may have a small platform, but if they're working and doing what they do with integrity, don't dismiss them just because they're small. Okay? They might not be for long. The white hats are determined to have this become more and more the norm. And I think part of that, this is just a Laura's View thing. If we could go back to the days where it wasn't lawful for propaganda to be in our news cycle without some kind of accountability for it. I think, wasn't it our 44th president that signed it into made it legal to have propaganda be openly and available and used? I think it was. Anyway, just like I think some remedy makers should be held responsible, I also think that the media, alt media community and the mainstream should too. And we'd have had a lot less trouble and a lot more untainted information available to us, no matter who funded it. So that's it for this video. So well done, alt media community, and keep doing it well done so that we draw more and more voices and ears to what we have to say. And hopefully what that is as close to the unvarnished and unbiased truth as possible. Until next time, I send you love, light, and wish for you everything bright. If you'd like to receive it, it's yours.